I know I'm talking to Mark, and I'm so sorry. I don't remember your name.
Joel.
Joel. Okay,
Yeah,
Mark and Joel. Okay, so
Yep.
sorry about that.
it's all good.
Awesome,
It's all good.
And what's your name again?
Yeah.
Megan. Hello, I am Megan Nash, and this is episode 94 of the Sit Down Podcast.
Hey guys, Muse Canada is a new arts and entertainment media connection and support network. Skip all the algorithms of social media and connect with other entertainment professionals across Canada. Sign up today for $5 a month.
Or you use promo code FunkyMoose2021 for 10% off.
Beauty.
Woo!
Right on.
It's like you've done this before.
Yeah.
Well,
So, hello and welcome.
Welcome. Yeah.
hi. Thanks so much for having me, and also congratulations on doing 93, now 94 episodes. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, we're coming up on 2 years.
We
Hey,
need to figure out what we're going to do for the 100th episode.
I have some ideas.
Oh,
Why do you not know?
no.
Well, the 100th episode will be, what did we say? Like around January, and that's going to be around the Clash at the Cap too. So my idea is somehow integrate that into the 100th episode
Good to know.
somehow, some way.
I think you missed that in the conversations that we have.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Anyways,
We still have 7 weeks to go.
yeah, that's right.
6.
So thank you and welcome again. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you come and chill out with us tonight. I know, like you said, Mark reached out to you a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And so how did you get in touch with Megan?
I started following you a long time ago.
In the streets of Saskatchewan. No.
Yeah. I walked behind you, went up an elevator. No. I don't know. Megan Nash, Saskatchewan artist. That's, as famous as they get almost. So I started following her, and then she played Chesterfest. And
Yeah.
after that, I reached out to her, see if she wanted to be on the show. And she said yes.
Hey, yo.
And
Right
we're
on.
here now. That's
Yeah.
our story. And Chesterfest was so much fun.
It was.
It really was.
was.
It was
Oh, that's what. You know what? Okay. So I remember you on stage. You were doing. You said something about you needed to improve on your banter on stage or something like that, and I was like, maybe you can do that on our podcast.
Is that how?
And that's how
That
I
was
reached
your
out
in?
to you. Yeah.
Oh, I probably had some bit that just went rambly, and I just was like, and didn't have a joke at the end, any way to wrap it up, and then I just said I need to improve on my banter. But what happened at Chesterfest that was super fun is somebody gave us, I don't know how many t-shirts, like 10 t-shirts that were rolled up ready for the people to throw them out.
Yeah.
They gave us 10 t-shirts before our set, and they're like, you can throw these out the audience. And I was like, what? That's so fun. So we really milked that. We had a lot of fun with those t-shirts.
Yep.
I remember looking at the guys and saying, do you know any game show music? And they looked at each other and they're like, what? But you know what? They pulled it off. They
Yeah, that worked out good.
Quirky game show music while I was just throwing them into the crowd and
whipping t-shirts at people.
Well, whipping's a bit of a I was trying my best to throw them, and I just don't have an arm. Everyone was like, oh yeah, they weren't in sports. But
so
anyways,
the people in front got the shirts, is what you're saying.
yeah.
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 Yeah, the weather was awesome there this year. Hey.
Yeah.
Freaking rights.
Yeah. I remember the first one. That was hot. I was in the shade a lot.
Yeah. Did you come by the booth at all?
Briefly, I wasn't really going too much. Like I was pretty that was like my first time like out in the world again. Like I was like pretty overwhelmed. In like
Right.
a good way. I know that's like I don't know. It was just a lot, so I was like kind of just like l- casually looking. I don't know, like
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but like trying to keep my distance still and like figure out like what is this new world we find ourselves in and
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah, letting the smoke clear, and for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think for me too, that was probably the largest crowd that I've been to after the
After you were
lockdowns.
allowed to,
Yeah,
essentially.
I think so.
But it was outdoors though.
Yeah, but still a lot of
Yeah.
people. We haven't seen
Does
that
that
in a
or
year and a
does
half.
that make you nervous? Like, okay, wait, let me backpedal here. Since Chesterfest, have you been playing other shows since then?
Yeah, I actually just played two this weekend, and then before that I played um well, for the listeners, whenever you're hearing this, I played two shows at the end of November. And then I also played a show at the end of October. And
Okay.
the show at the end of October was at the Lyric Theater in Swift Current, and that was my first time playing a show with an audience inside of a building, and
Yeah.
I have to say, I'm really grateful that the mask mandate is back in, not just like not only just for like to try to keep, less people getting sick in our day to day, but like I can't imagine playing a show right now with just like to an audience full of like unmasked folks, that would just be like, so that's been so now like that they have like different protocols in place, I'm like, okay, well, let's do some shows inside. And so I have, and it was like um it's this strange there's this strange thing that happens. I don't really have the words yet for how I feel, but I'll try my best to describe it of like that there's still a pandemic happening. It's like everyone is wearing masks and it's like we're kind of used to it but we're kind of not, and then we're up on stage playing and it feels like we're back doing what we were always supposed to be doing and like what we're born to do, as cheesy as that sounds. I'm not trying to sound like so cliche, but cliches are, I don't know, a lot of times they can be true. And it's like, okay, so we're doing what we love, and it feels like almost like the before times a little bit, but it's
Right.
also
Mhm.
not. So I don't know, there's like this push and pull, but I feel like I can lose myself for 45 minutes. And like, that's something I couldn't do for, however many months when we weren't able to do anything. And I have to say, like, I was pretty lucky that in the summer of 2020, I did get a few gigs that were like pandemic shows, like the drive-in shows. Those are
Right.
amazing. And like I grew up in a small town, so playing to like a bunch of folks in like a truck and like they're in the back of their truck, and like honking, I'm like, oh, I grew up here or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that felt really familiar and good. So I feel like really lucky that I had those opportunities. But it was so nice. Like this week, at the end of November, I played Amigos in Saskatoon and
Nice.
The Exchange in Regina, and those shows were unreal. It was so, oh gosh, it felt so good to be back.
Right.
And like have folks singing along and just like and being I don't know, it was so fun. And just even like the day of those shows, I miss that so much. Like, what time's load in, do we get fed, just like the
Yeah.
mundane things that I just like I missed
Yeah.
it so much. Yeah.
You
Do you,
you played? Did you play uh NPA, the outdoor one? Not Chesterfest, but it
at
was,
the EA Rollinson?
yeah. Uh,
Oh yeah,
what's it
I
called?
played. Mm-hmm. Well, I like the drive-in show. I
Yeah,
can't
Yeah,
yeah.
it
remember.
was.
Yeah.
It had a
Was it
name,
just?
didn't it?
Oh, I
We
don't
I
saw
don't
remember.
even
weapons in it.
remember. I thought it was just
The drive-in.
Yeah,
the a
drive-in.
driving show.
Sure,
Yeah.
that one. You played that one too.
So that's actually how we got Chesterfest. Is like we played the drive-in show and it was super fun. Again, like really grateful for that gig. And then when we were like packing up our gear, Joel's like, "Hey, are you busy this September?" And like I'll be totally honest with you guys, like I haven't been booking a whole ton of stuff because I've been like, what is happening? Like I don't know how
Yeah.
many times you've seen it, but like you see people rebook and then cancel and rebook and then cancel, rebook and then cancel, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna lay low and do things locally when I can and when it feels good, and just like, I don't know. I've been doing like online songwriting sessions in schools and stuff to like kind of like just keep afloat, and yeah.
Right.
But so we didn't have a lot planned, and we are like, oh, we're free. He's like, do you want to play Chesterfest? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Like when I first heard about that festival, I thought that it sounded like a lot of fun, and like I just loved the idea of like putting these old Chesterfields into a field. Like that's just so fun, and like it looks awesome, and I know that it's such a vibe. So yeah, we were so happy to get that gig. And we came up the night before too, so we could like watch the other bands and kind of make like a weekend of it. The
Oh,
Oh,
guys and
nice.
I. Yeah.
So you're out of correct me if I'm wrong, but you're out of Saskatoon, right? Or no?
No, I'm not. I wonder why you think that. How have I told how what impression um
What made me
what
think that you were from Saskatoon?
yeah, do I like I feel like you think I'm a city person. Is it
Uh,
because I like expensive coffee and wear very trendy very trendy
I'll
clothes? Nah,
I'll
no,
be
I
honest.
can't.
The reason I thought you were from Saskatoon is because like the people that I hang around with that are like in the music industry in Saskatoon are always talking about you. I always hear your name
Like
come up all the time.
good
So I'm just
things or
yes,
bad things?
no, all
Like do you
all
think I
all
have
good things.
do you think I have a lot of beef with folks in Saskatoon?
No, no, not at all. I've heard nothing but good things about you from my friends in Saskatoon. So I assumed that you were local, that you were there.
Well, I actually so I grew up on a farm near Mortlack, Saskatchewan. Like Mortlack is like on the #1 highway between Regina and Swift Current. So if
Okay.
you've ever done that stretch, you've driven right by Mortlack. And so like the farm I grew up on was just north of the #1 highway, kind of by Park Big as well. And so for me growing up, it was a big deal to go to Saskatoon. It was a big deal to go to Regina. They were like the big cities. And, you know, honestly, like they're still that way for my folks. Like if they can swing it, if we can make it work with the schedule, like if they've got a doctor's appointment in town, like in the city, I'm driving them still. Like they're just like, I don't know, small town folks, that don't like
Right.
driving in
Yeah.
the big city.
Yeah.
So I remember in grade 12 when I took a songwriting course, like that's kind of a big step for me. Was I found the songwriting course offered through the U of S extended, I don't know, continued learning. I can't remember what it was called, but like Kim Fontaine, who is a Saskatoon based songwriter, she was putting on this songwriting course through the U of S continued learning program or something like that. And it was like my grade 12 year, and everybody was like applying to different universities to do different things. And I was like, well, I want to be a songwriter, but there's no like University of Songwriting
Yeah.
101 or whatever. But I found this, and I was like, I remember driving to Saskatoon by myself on the weekends, going to this course and just being like so naive but determined that I was going to write songs for a living. Like no idea what that looked like, and like was I good enough at that time? No. And like it's not like a step 1, step 2, step 3, here you go, here's your life now kind of thing. But that for me was a huge moment for numerous reasons. One, I was driving in the big city by myself. And I was meeting other people who loved music as much as I did,
Right.
and who loved songs as much as I did. And I got to hear different people's perspectives on being based out of Saskatchewan as an artist. And that's a decision I've made. Like I live in the country now south of Moose Jaw, but like Moose Jaw area has been like my home pretty much my entire life, with the exception of when I went to school in Nova Scotia. I did study music business at Nova Scotia Community College in Dartmouth one year. Graduated in like '09 from that. So,
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'm sure that program looks a lot different now. Like the industry has changed so much. It changes like so much, yearly. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, Moose Jaw has been my like I don't know. It's just it has a special place in my heart. I was really fortunate. I got to hang out with both sets of my grandparents growing up. And like one lived near the Town and Country Mall. Okay, this is gonna be like for the Moose Jaw crowd. Dear listener, if you're from Moose Jaw, this is for you. If you're not from Moose Jaw, I'm not trying to be isolating or anything. Like I'm not trying. I'll explain this. My one set of grandparents lived near the Town and Country Mall. The other set of grandparents lived on South Hill. Okay, so I feel like I got to have like a well-rounded Moose Jaw experience every weekend. So I feel like I partially grew up in Moose Jaw, with the exception of not having to go to school. Um, there I went to school in Mortlack, K to 12. I just told you my life story.
That's
Wow.
awesome. That is good.
So my main question out of all of that was like, why Nova Scotia? Why did you move there?
Yeah,
Because that was only 1 year.
I just went out there for school.
Huh.
And basically I was looking for a program that would a music business program that was like reasonably priced. Like there were different programs in larger cities, but I found this community college that offered this program, and it's like, well, Nova Scotia is a smaller place, Dartmouth is smaller, Halifax is smaller. I don't really know, like I didn't know how to like cross the street in a city until I was like really older than I should have been before I like figure out that stuff. Like I grew up like small farm,
Yeah.
and so I was 18 and I really wanted to get some kind of understand. I wanted to get some knowledge about the music business. So I found this program that was in a smaller center and that was community college prices versus what some of these like larger schools were charging. So
Right.
that's really why I went. And like, and then oh gosh, it was just like, it was such a special experience for me. And I think about Nova Scotia all the time. All the time I think about, like, I love the Maritimes.
Have you not been back since you went to school there?
I've been back there many times and I tried to, like, if I could afford it, and if there wasn't a pandemic, I don't know, I might, my partner and I might go next year because I want to show him where I went to school. And actually I showed my parents, like they finally came out in 2019. So I got to show my folks like where I went to school, and just, I don't know, it was so special. I'm so grateful that we did that trip. Like my folks, I don't know how much more traveling they want to do. Like they're not as into airplanes anymore and stuff. So
Right.
the fact that we got that trip in when we did is just like so special. And I've thought about that trip a lot too. But like they didn't come out for my graduation or anything, or they didn't come out to when I first moved there, because like it was just a financial thing, right? Like flying in Canada is so it's expensive.
It's expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So I remember my mom was very supportive of me going out to school there eventually. Like at first, like my parents were like, what are you going to do? You're going to go study music business. Like, what do you become at the end of that? And I'm like, like they're, you know what I mean? Like very like pragmatic farmers. And they're,
Yeah.
I remember it took a bit of like, no, I think this is going to be a good idea. I think it's going to be good. So when they finally got on board, I remember my mom found me like a boarding house to live in, and I had a picture of it printed off. Like I don't think I had a smartphone at that time. I don't know. Like I had a printed off, picture of it, and then like took a plane there with my bag and my guitar, and then just like took a taxi to this new house and like met some people, and was locked out of my room the first night, so I had to sleep in like the common area, and it was like really weird, but it all worked out.
Oh my God.
It all worked out. But like that was like me 18, fresh off the farm, being like, what is this?
Wow.
What is this? See, and when you were talking about Moose Jaw, what I was thinking about was those like, isn't there like some underground Al Capone,
Yeah.
like
the
freaking
tunnels. Yeah.
Are they still there?
Yeah, there are.
They're
And they're actually
tourist attraction.
tours. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are
Have you not
tours
been there?
I haven't been in the tunnels. No, I've always like been interested in that though. So like, what was he doing? Like bringing people down there and like killing people? And
Well, that's where he smuggled all his booze
to where though? To like New Jersey or something?
Yeah. Well,
That's gotta be a long tunnel. Are you serious?
No,
That tunnel went all the way from Moose Jaw to like New Jersey?
No, not New Jersey.
New York?
Yeah, sure. No, he had tunnels across the border, and then I don't know.
That's how he got it.
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how any of these tunnels work, but you can still go down there on the tour. But I've heard it's all like, he was here Allegedly. He was here allegedly. Like, I don't know the story, but my
Yeah.
sister does. My sister worked at the tunnels for years. So
Yeah.
you got
There's a
the
lot.
wrong Nash on the program, okay?
No, that's just what I was thinking. Every time I hear Moose Jaw, I think of that. Apparently, there's some.
There are 2 sets of tunnels.
Apparently, there's a set in Waka too. Did you hear this?
Really?
I'll tell you about that.
Was it Al
off
Capone
camera.
too?
Yeah.
But but there was prohibition for how long? Like, people were getting creative. People at the end of the day are they're gonna find a way, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
But Waka?
Maybe. I don't know. That place was fun. I don't know about now, but
Do you guys
anyway.
swear? Do you guys swear on this podcast?
Fuck
Sure.
yeah, we do.
I was just curious.
This is it's just totally an open forum. We
Yep.
we don't give a shit. I don't give
Okay.
a shit.
We don't give a hoot.
Yeah, I've gotten in trouble from people for how much I swear on here, so I've tried to like tone it back a little bit, but it's not me.
Like,
If I like why
people message you and they're like, swear jar. Like, they're like, you owe us money.
and no, it's more like we would watch your show if you didn't swear as much, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, whatever, you're not gonna watch this show, I don't know, stuff like that.
No,
It's
if you keep
usually
swearing.
people that I know, right? Like family that give me a hard time about it.
Like,
I'm just-
close people to me.
yeah,
Love,
and I'm just
loved
like,
ones.
yeah, I'm like, then you should know that that's legitimately who I am, and you should be okay with that. So whatever. Yeah. So
And
the
then
answer
do you ever ask them what are you gonna watch then?
I don't, because I don't care. I don't care.
Okay.
I really don't. They can watch it or they can not watch it, or we're doing this for us. We're doing it because we want to do it and we want to hang out with you, right?
Yeah.
And we don't want to be fake about it. We want to just, let people know this is legitimately who we are and how we are. And
we actually got the comments from several artists that we met after we met them on Zoom. We meet them in real life, and then they said, wow, you guys are exactly the same as on the show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is who we are.
Yeah.
If you were going to create a character, though, like if you wanted to have a show where you played a character, what kind of character would you feel comfortable playing?
Ooh.
I would like, if I was in a movie, I'd love to be in a comedy and be like the nerdy dorky guy. I'd love that. But
hey,
like
you'd play me.
Yeah, it would be you. I'd love to do that, or definitely like make me like not a Dexter, but like I want to be the bad guy.
The super villain.
I want to be like the super villain, but not like a fake Marvel super villain. Like I want to be like a Mr. Brooks kind of.
You want to be a real.
You ever see Mr. Yeah, I want to be like a real serial killer in a movie. Like badass.
All right.
No, I've never watched that. I've never watched it. So
I love that movie.
But I can imagine. Yeah. How about you?
I never really thought of this, actually. But yeah, something like a Dexter where there's like a very dark passenger or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And I don't have to be the lead character or anything, but put me in the background where, kill some people here and there. And
how about you?
Yeah.
I would probably just be like a really, quirky, lovable character that wouldn't harm a fly. I just wanted to contrast you guys.
Yeah, the exact opposite. Nice.
I would like to be in a comedy where there's a lot of like physical comedy and just goofy, over the top,
right.
abstract kind of humor. I would be super into that. The weirder the better.
Do you watch a lot of like movies or TV or anything?
Well, if you'd asked me that in February 2020, I would have said, no, I don't even have a TV in my house. That's what I would have said, everyone would have thought, oh, wow, what a creative, hardworking artist, just always. I'm just teasing. But in all seriousness, now I've watched a lot. And I feel like I've caught up on a lot of different pop culture things that everyone has watched, and I was just like, didn't have the attention span for it when I was younger. And then when I became, an adult, honestly, like the indie rock grind can just eat you up. And
Yeah.
so I missed out on a lot of stuff. So I finally like rewatched. I think I watched it when I was a teenager when they first came out, but I finally rewatched like the Lord of the Rings trilogies, and like I finally like, oh my gosh, my partner and I lately we've been binging Hell's Kitchen. And it's like it's so toxic and everything that every way, like the way that Gordon Ramsay carries himself, like I just don't want to be like that. And so I'm like, I'm hanging on every word, you know?
Right.
But just screaming at people, hey? Like
It's
But
entertainment, right?
apparently he's a stand-up dude. Like he swears at everyone and puts everyone
yep.
down on the show.
But
But he's
it's all for the camera.
yeah, but like he has a good heart. He gives a lot of money to charities and
Okay,
he helped.
does that mean he's a good heart, or
No,
is
no,
that just tax write-offs?
that's part of it.
Oh, tax
But he
write-offs and guilt. He's like, I
yeah.
talked to a lot of people today right now.
Right? That's all that is, man.
Yeah.
You know what though? In the challenges, like when they get to hang out with Gordon Ramsay, he does seem like a nice person at times. But there's some things I'm like, oh, I wish you wouldn't say that. Like when he's yelling at somebody and like making fun of their appearance, like something they can't change or whatever. That's what I'm
Right.
like. You should be more creative than that, Gordon Ramsay. You
Right.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, I think we're still a ways back. So I'm curious if as the seasons get closer to present day, if he dials back on some of the like
The harshness.
yeah, really negative things. But we'll
Could
see.
be.
We'll
Yeah.
see.
I
But
don't
yeah,
know.
I've been watching a lot of Hell's Kitchen, and just like I love shows like um I'm just like thinking about what I've watched lately. Big Mouth. I really like Big Mouth.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yes. Did you catch up yet?
No, I'm
I
almost
haven't
done
caught up yet
season
either.
3, I
Okay.
think.
3?
There's 4 seasons, right?
4 or 5?
I'm not sure. I'm like 1.5 to catch up.
Because they
I-
just
I-
released a new season.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
halfway through that one.
Yeah, I haven't started that one yet. Yeah, I like that show. That freaking, what the hell's his name?
The Hormone Monster.
No, no. I'm having a brain fart right now. The not
Andrew.
Kroll, the other guy,
Oh yeah, that one.
but his real name in real life.
Yep.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh,
He's a comedian.
John Mulaney or Nick Kroll?
John
Ah,
Mulaney.
yeah, yeah.
Yes,
John
thank you.
Mulaney.
Yeah, he went through some shit recently too, just before that season came out. Hey, do you know about it? All that stuff?
Really?
Yeah, so he ended up getting a divorce from his wife, and he ended up in like rehab for cocaine.
Oh yeah, I did hear that.
And then he was on like Jimmy Kimmel the other night talking about it. They did like an intervention for him and everything. Yeah.
Oh.
Anyways.
Mafia movies. That's what I want to be in.
Oh, yeah. I
like
finally
Casino?
watched the Godfather trilogy during the pandemic.
Oh.
Finally watched it.
What's your favorite one? Which, if you could pick which one of those 3, which one would it be?
Oh gosh. I just remember it so much as like because I was
Oh,
binge
yeah.
watching it, right?
It's kinda
So
one
to me,
story,
it's
right?
like, yeah, it's like one movement.
One big one.
Yeah, I can't remember. Which one starts with the wedding right off the top?
Isn't that the second one?
That's the second one, isn't it? I think so.
Frick, it's
that
been
one.
so
I don't
long.
know.
I haven't
I
seen
can't
those in
really
so long.
remember.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Sopranos. Have you watched Sopranos yet?
Nope, I have not.
You?
But then there's like a new one though, right?
What?
There's like a new thing
Yeah,
about Sopranos.
it's the movie.
It's like the prequel.
The prequel of and James Gandolfini's son plays
A younger version of him.
Tony Soprano
Yeah.
before. Yeah,
Interesting.
pretty cool. I haven't watched the movie yet, but I would play Soprano in the Sopranos too. Yeah. Play Cousin Vinny.
The best thing I've watched during like in the last 2 years, I watched this right before the pandemic hit, but they've since released a new season 2, is I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. I Think You Should Leave is so good.
What's it about?
I never heard of this.
It's on Netflix. Oh my gosh, I'm like excited for you guys because you get to watch it with fresh eyes. I'm
Okay.
excited. It's comedy sketches. Oh, it's so good.
All right. All right. I think you should leave is what it's called.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right. I'm going to
Well,
check that out tonight.
let's end this call and go watch it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Megan.
Yeah.
Bye.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome.
No, let's get back onto some music topic.
Why?
Well,
Are you not having fun?
because I'm legitimately interested of how Megan went from like small town farm girl to going to school in Halifax, right? In 2009 for music business, and then from there to where she is today. Like everybody in Saskatoon's talking about you.
Yeah.
So I want to know what you have done, I guess in the last 10 years to get to where you are right now.
And I don't think it's just Saskatoon. It's just Saskatchewan. Everybody knows Megan Nash.
Yeah. So think of it. So here's my question. Think of it like this. If you were to give some up and coming musicians in Saskatchewan that are, everybody went through the pandemic, everyone's there. What's some advice from a position that you're in right now, Megan, to somebody who's like a new musician in Saskatchewan?
That's interesting that because I feel like you kind of asked two different things, right? The first part was like, how did you get to where you are? And then the second part was, what advice would you give? Because they aren't necessarily the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess the biggest, okay, so something that, okay, so being like a kid from Mortlach and then like spending the majority of my time in Moose Jaw, something about like the Moose Jaw scene is like you had to make your own shit happen, you know? Like there's something very punk about that scene, in my opinion, and punk in like the DIY sense, right? Like you don't wait for a label to come find you, you don't wait for a booking agent, or you don't wait for a show promoter to want to book you. You just make your own shows happen, and you make those shows happen with your friends who also play music. So the bills are, really musically different, and you just do it. You just make your own shit happen. And that I feel like in scenes like Saskatchewan, you kind of have to do that. Like we're not in Toronto where there's like a bunch of where there's more infrastructure and more industry there that are kind of like making things happen for artists, right? Like artists have to do their, like really have to get DIY here. I'm not saying that you don't have to do that in other scenes, but I'm just saying you really got to do it in the prairies,
Yeah.
So I've just always believed in that, and I haven't waited for anybody to do that stuff for me. And I guess the other advice would be just like make sure if you are going to have a team around you, just be patient and try your best to work with kind people. But yeah, it can be such a hard and discouraging industry, but at the end of the day, you just have to do, in my opinion, for the genre and like the scene I'm in, you have to do what feels good for you, because you're the one who has to live with it at the end of the day, right? Like it's hard though not to cave into peer pressure. And also too, there can be a level of desperation in this industry, which is quite toxic and something that we have to be mindful of, especially with the young artists coming up, whether it's like if you are needing money or just feeling like you have to say yes to every single opportunity. Because you don't, like, I remember, like, I've done some things that I'm like, oh, I remember I was watching a Patti Smith interview once, and I love Patti Smith, and she was like, just do good work. And it was like such like simple advice, but like for me, I was like, oh no, but I've done a lot of bad work. Like I've made a lot of mistakes, and like but I've had to, yeah, grow and develop from it. And like it's just taken me a bit longer, I think, to find my influences and then to, be influenced by them to get to the point where I'm making music that I'm happy with. And I think like young artists, I don't know, if you're just like emerging artists, it doesn't matter your age. If you're emerging, you're new in the scene, Yeah, listen to your gut and do things that feel good. And you don't have to say yes to every opportunity. Like, it's actually good to be strategic and not just be like, yes, yes, yes. Like, for so long, I've just been like throwing spaghetti at the wall,
Yeah.
and seeing what sticks. And like, I could probably be a bit more strategic. That being said, though, I've been a bit of a road dog, and I would just go anywhere. Got a gig? Okay, yeah, let's just go. Let's just go. But
Yeah.
the pandemic's made me reassess a bit of my well, obviously I've been just like kind of waiting it out, but it's made me reassess some of my, I don't know, touring strategies and stuff, but I also have a dog I really love. And it's harder to tour, like it's harder for me to like agree to a six week tour, unless it's like really worth it. But I'm kind of getting off topic now, but anyways,
Well, no,
it's good
that's
to, it's good to have boundaries. It's good to have boundaries. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no,
Yeah.
it's I was gonna say that's all good stuff because like I kind of want to talk about touring now too, though. Like I've
He
I
doesn't want to.
I'm not a musician. I don't know how like life on the road is, and I'm sure you've got like a few good stories about that. That if you're willing to share, I'd love to hear them. How okay? So how far? What's
You,
the
what you
farthest you were able to tour to? Like
what you
how
need to
far?
know of from Joel is like he asks like 15 questions
I'm
in
a
one.
scatterbrain.
Yeah.
I'm such a scatterbrain.
So
No,
just
So
dude, I get
please
it. I
forgive me.
just
Please
pick the one
forgive
that
me.
you want to answer.
No,
Yeah.
my brain works that way too. My brain works that way too. Uh, I in 2019, I played a show in Tallinn, Estonia. That's probably the farthest from home I've been.
Estonia.
Yeah, I think that's the
Okay.
farthest.
Isn't that like where they did Encino Man? Estonia? No? I'm being goofy. I'm just being silly.
I don't even know the reference though. This is again like I don't know a lot of pop culture, so this just what that just went.
You've never
Wee.
seen Encino Man with
No,
like Pauly Shore and Sean Austin?
man, I just watched the Lord of the Rings trilogy last year. Like,
He's a few years
I
behind.
I
About
I'm
guess so.
20.
not a
20 years
yeah.
behind.
All right. I'll watch. What is it? You have to leave now?
Yep.
And you have to watch
Encino Man.
Encino Man.
Yeah.
I think you should leave.
I think you should leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Estonia is it Western Russia or Eastern Europe? That area.
Okay. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to look at my world map, but I don't have my glasses on for one. And like, it's just yeah, I had to Google it. I had to Google it when I first got the offer. I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool, I'll go. And that place was really rad. Tallinn is a very interesting city. It has you'll basically be like walking through a castle and then get to go somewhere with amazing Wi-Fi. Like there's like so much like technology and there's so
Yep.
much like really
History.
really old architecture. Yeah. um I've done a little bit in the UK. I've spent some time in Germany as far as the overseas go. The most time I've toured the most in Germany. um Played Portugal.
Have you been to Holland?
Oh, just like passing through, just getting flights in and out.
Yeah.
But like yeah, like I don't know, probably like some of the wildest stuff I did was like, it's not even so much to me, it's wild now because it's like I think about doing all this stuff by myself, and like I've been playing with the band pretty seriously for the last few years, and like now it's like I don't really want to do much without my band musically. And but also like there's this part of me that's like I love having that support.
Mhm.
But like when I was doing a sewer I almost said sewer tour, a solo tour together, sewer, oh dear, solo tour in April 2019. I flew into probably, I don't remember which city center, and like after taking a red eye, rent a car immediately, like have to drive to where I'm gonna crash, not crash like car accident, but like where I'm
Yeah.
gonna sleep that night. And navigating signs and traffic signs that I can't read, like doing all this stuff by myself, driving on the autobahn like 170 180k by myself, like just, and honestly like having kind of like the best time. But it's also just like, okay, I'm here, no one else is going to do any of this for me. I am making this happen. And to me, that's just like 17-year-old me driving in Saskatoon by myself, like, okay, all right, just got to
Right.
do it, make it happen. But yeah. And like, I just used to, sleep, crash wherever I could. And like, it never freaked me out. I never cared. Like, that's been like the weirdest thing about the pandemic for me, is like thinking about just having to be more careful in spaces. Like, my risk management has totally changed. Like, I
Right.
never used to really worry much about like my own safety. I remember one time I was on tour and I realized halfway through the tour that I forgot to get travel insurance. I was like, oh, I hope I don't hurt myself,
Oh,
like,
wow.
Yeah.
like, but I just was like so busy that, things would fall through the cracks. I was like on tour opening for Shred Kelly and just like came up one night and I was like, oh yeah, I think I forgot to do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So would you do tours like that with your band now?
I would love to. Yeah, I would. I would when right now it's like, yeah, everybody is it's such a weird time. It's such a weird time. Things are constantly changing even still.
Mhm.
But in the next couple of years, I would definitely love to do things with the full band and be able to present the songs like that. Um, I think there's a part of me that will always be like a bit of a solo singer songwriter in the way that I like to share songs and stories. But when I can have my band, I love to have my band with me. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. I got to listen to. Well, so when of like the newer album, when was that album released? I was listening to it on YouTube.
So we released the latest album, Soft Focus Futures, which I wish I just named Soft because I get tired of saying Soft Focus Futures. I should have just named it something short. Soft. We released it on November 3rd, 2021. And
Right.
the last album before that was September 22nd, 2017. So for me, this album was like a long time coming. Like, I'm
Long
a
overdue.
totally
Yeah.
different person from who I was with the last record. So
Mhm.
yeah. Oh my gosh,
No,
there's a maple bug on my webcam. I don't know if they've been bad where you guys are, but they're ever. Oh, I was hoping that it would crawl over the screen and just be
yes.
be terrifying. But no, it went the other way. Ah, shoot.
A maple bug, is that like those flies that are like they're like brown and
They're black and orange or red.
yeah, they're like funny colors?
Yeah, we have a few of them here.
A
Every once in
few.
a while.
Oh my gosh. You guys don't know what it's like out here.
Out in the boonies.
Yeah.
We're in rural Saskatchewan too. We're not in a
Oh,
city.
where are you?
Yeah.
Bellevue, which is half an hour, well, give or take half an hour south of PA and about an hour north of Saskatoon.
Population 100.
Yep.
This is a maple bug.
Oh, there he is.
Oh yeah. Let's call him. What do we call him?
Fred.
Out of focus.
Ah.
Soft focus maple bug. Oh, sorry.
That was Fred.
No, that's all good. Yeah, so we're in a small town too. There's only like 100 people in this town. So we get what you're talking about, and it's a farming community. Everybody around it's all farmers.
Yep. Very.
I don't farm though. I don't farm. I don't sing. I don't play an instrument.
What do you
do? I don't do shit. I don't do nothing. I just listen to music. I listen to great music like Megan Nash. I love the video for damn it, I'm bad with names.
That's okay.
not a song.
Can you describe what I'm doing in the video?
Or can you sing the song?
I can't say. I was singing it earlier and now I forget the words. You're dancing in the video.
Okay, Too Quietly, Clean Slate, probably.
Yes, True Quietly.
Yeah.
Yes, I listened to that song 3 freaking times today. Twice. I listened to it twice because I really enjoyed it. And then I found there was a video for it. And I was like, fuck yeah. So then I got really like it just, I don't know what it is about that song. It's almost like hypnotizing for me. For some reason, I can't put my finger on it yet. And the video was even cooler. So when I was watching your music video, I was so tuned into it that I was like trying to figure out how it was filmed and everything, because you're dancing through. Did you see the video?
I didn't.
So she's dancing throughout the video, but the whole time I was thinking, was this filmed like backwards because of like how intricate your dancing is? But then I knew it wasn't filmed backwards because your lips are matching with the words. So then I was like, well, what the fuck? And then I don't know. It was just, that's kind of where I was at in my head when I was watching it. I really enjoyed it. I want to watch it like 3 more times.
What if she's so good that she can sing her own song backwards?
I thought of that too. I totally thought of that too. So that was, I wanted to ask you about that, about that, filming that video, how that was for you.
Well, contrary to popular belief, I actually can't sing my own songs backwards.
Oh, we have to cut that out.
Yeah.
You can't reveal that.
I'll just mute it. I'll just mute that part.
Yeah.
Contrary to popular belief, and then it's just silence. You don't shorten the space. Just what did she say? That video was definitely like a labor of love for quite some time. Like, oh my gosh, I remember I was dancing to that song. Like, it was still one of the early mixes of that song in like December, start of January. And I remember like I kind of threw out my neck because I was like trying to think of dances or whatever. And then I was like, okay, I need to call my friend Misty, who runs Fata Dance out of Regina, because she's a choreographer and like knows what she's doing and knows how to like not hurt yourself when you're dancing, you know. But I remember our first meeting about that video was in January 2021, and there had been a storm that night, and my power was out for like 11 to 12 hours. It wasn't that cold, thank goodness. I think it was something like -4 outside, but I was still like, I remember I just had like, I was lying in bed, like I looked like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory's grandparents, like Charlie's grandparents, like all my layers on, cuddling with my dog. And like Misty called and she's like, oh, do you still want to do this meeting? I'm like, oh yeah, like I wanted the distraction, right? Like, yeah, like, and then the power was on shortly after we had our first meeting. But like, that was our first meeting, was like during this like 12-hour power outage.
Right.
And then we started working on the dance. Like, she would send me videos and I'd practice here. And I really loved that because it was like January, February, and I live in the middle of nowhere, and it's winter during a pandemic, and it's just like, it was so depressing, you know, like it was just like, but it was like this little light I had, and it like was interesting to interact with her like via text and like these videos. It was really cool. It was like really special to me. And then we were about to start rehearsing in person, and then there was a travel advisory for Regina, and that travel advisory lasted for like 2 months, and I wasn't about to break a travel advisory to make my music video. Like,
yeah,
no, I'll stay put, and I live in the middle of nowhere, a small town. I don't want to be getting sick and bringing that back to my own little community. So yeah, we just kept doing videos, and then we're finally gonna get together and rehearse. And there was a flood that day in Regina, and again, travel not advised. Like, as soon as they lifted the travel advisory for COVID, I'm not kidding, there was a flood. I was driving to Regina. I was listening to CBC, and they were like, travel not recommended in the city. I'm like, are you kidding me? And also, we decided because of COVID to make this video outside. Like, originally I imagined being in like the soundstage in Regina or something, like a big dark room and just like a one take. I've always wanted to do one take. And then I thought, well, why don't we move it outdoors? And then that ended up being a really nice call, because that space worked really well for the song,
right?
In my humble opinion.
Is that like, sorry, is that like on a rooftop?
So last summer I played the Regina Folk Fest drive-in show that I mentioned earlier, and that was in the parking lot of the Connexus Art Center. So last summer I spent time in that space, and that it just kind of stuck with me. And so I was like, what if about the Connexus Art Center? So that's, yeah, like that's, I don't know, right outside their place. And so I went to go rehearse. And by the time we were starting to rehearse, I felt really lucky that I had like my first dose, my second dose already. Like, it wasn't fully 2 weeks before we filmed it, but like that was a bit of, relief for me. I was really grateful for that. But we were rehearsing during the heat dome. So we'd have to get there, like I'd have to get to Regina. I live 2 hours away from Regina. I have to get to Regina like early in the morning before, you know, it would be like way too hot to move. So
Yeah.
it was like, man, like we've got like power outages in the winter, we've got floods, we've got a pandemic, we've got like a heat dome, like all these, like, you know, I guess the power outage in the wintertime is not unprecedented by any means, and the flood was not really unprecedented either, but like, are you kidding me? You know, like
Yeah.
there's like
Yeah.
so much, and it's like, is this video even gonna happen? And like, so it took a lot of rehearsing, like me learning by myself, like just like practicing off Misty's videos, and then practicing in the space once we decided that that space would be it, and like work and incorporating the physical space into the dance routine, like really changing it up, and then altering it even more for the camera, and rehearsing with the director, and then also rehearsing with the camera person and the lighting person, because like they had to follow me the whole time and like
Yeah.
try to like not be in the shot and not cast a shadow in the shot, you know?
Right.
So there were so many moving pieces, but because that song has like kind of like two different movements in it, like it's Too Quietly, Clean Slate, the two levels of that space. So I know this is like not, maybe it's like not the most like interesting thing to listen to of me just saying like the two levels of the space. Like if folks check out the video, you'll know you'll know what I mean. but it ended up working out, and like we wouldn't have had a car in it otherwise. Like there's all these little parts, that headlights and like everything that did end up being in the video that added that really reflect the song. And like the song is all about being like anxious and awkward off the top. Like you're supposed to kind of feel uncomfortable. Like I don't know how many times making this record I was like, yeah, we need to make this uncomfortable. Like I don't make songs that are like always a pleasant listening experience. It's like, no, if this song's about anxiety, I want you to kind of feel a little uneasy in this part,
Right.
because that's like what
Maybe
it feels
that's
like.
maybe that's what's drawing me in to
Yeah,
it.
it could be.
Because like I'm very like high anxiety and my head's all over the place. That could be it. Maybe. That sounds like an answer. I'm gonna have to watch it a few more times now to figure it out.
Get more anxious.
I like it though. I'm very happy with it. Congratulations on it.
Thank you so much.
It's freaking awesome.
Thank you. But at the
So
end though
good.
too, there's supposed to be a bit of relief, and there's supposed to be some hope there too, right? I hope you
Yeah,
feel a little
right.
hope.
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, no, I'm gonna make Mark watch it when we're done here tonight.
Oh, you don't
too.
have to make me. I'll.
It's freaking awesome. It's so good. Yeah, so that's what I was doing for the last couple hours this evening.
This episode of the Sit Down Podcast is brought to you by Inspired Vapor Company, which is a company that helps people stop smoking.
That's right, guys. If you're out there smoking and you're struggling, drop the darts. These guys, Blaine and Kevin Tates, who own the company, are there. They can answer any of your questions. They can help you transition from cigarettes to vaping and then to nothing. A couple of class act guys. I highly recommend you reach out to them. You can order online and have the product shipped right to you.
And they have 3 locations in Saskatchewan, one in Melfort, Prince Albert, and in Humboldt, but also online at inspiredvaporcompany.com.
That's right. So whether you're in the store or online purchases or making an online purchase, use the promo code Moose10 for 10% off, you guys. Your mom and dad, like you grew up farming, right? So is it like, grain and wheat and peas and all, like your typical farming, or?
It was mixed. We had cows and
okay.
a bit of farmland. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had to like go feed the cows in the morning, like the farm girl kind of stuff,
I
right?
never did the morning stuff. No, I was I would get off the school bus and like go do some chores then, but like I never had to do the morning shift, which was like really sweet. I have also like always sucked at mornings, and that would have been awful. And I guess I should call up my dad and thank him for not giving
Making
me
you
the
do the
morning
morning.
shift. Yeah. But yeah,
So
I don't know. Grew up doing chores and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it beef or dairy?
Beef. Yeah. And like they've since sold the farm. They sold the farm gosh, it's got to be close to 10 years. 10 years ago now, I think. So they now live in Moose Jaw, which is cool. But yeah, I don't
That's
know.
cool.
Yeah, just
I used to have pigs.
oh, how many?
The most I had at one shot was 120, I think.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it was usually like, 40 here, 60 here, 40 there. And then there was like one summer, it was like, I remember I got it was like a small business loan. I think it was 13 or 14. My dad had to co-sign for it. And the bank was like offering these, if you had a business plan, a business idea, the bank would give you a loan or a grant or something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but the bank gave me money and I was like 14. And I think that was the year I got the 120 pigs. And then that grant or whatever paid for the feed and the little pigs. They were like $50 a pop. And I just got them nice and fat and sold them for like $300-400 a pop. But my chores, it was so easy. The way it was set up, all I had to do was I would go out in the morning and I made sure that they had food, right, in their troughs. And then when I'd get off the bus, I'd go and just, double check, make sure that they were full. So I'd feed them once in the morning, feed them at night. And then on Saturdays, what sucked was I'd shovel shit for like 4 or 5 hours because I would clean all the pens, right? Get rid of, bring in the new hay. And so that was my chores. I did that for however long and then sold them and I made a killing. But see, Dad did like all the, get the feed hauled to the farm and like fill up the bins so that I could haul it with the pails. Like Dad organized all that, all the getting them slaughtered and selling them. All I had to do was feed them and shovel shit every Saturday. Yeah.
Yeah.
13 years old. Yeah.
Cool.
That's awesome. Easy money.
I'm so not a farm guy at all.
And it was good eating.
My wife is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a farm guy, I'm a farm girl.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part about being a farm guy was getting to drive equipment, like operate equipment way before
Yeah.
my city friends were driving. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
my driver's license, I remember my getting, I think probably my dad drove me to the test like the day of, like after school. I can't remember if it was my dad or my mom. One of my parents drove me to the driving exam the day I turned 16, and I got my license, and I was like, okay, sweet. Like, finally am I doing like this thing that I've been doing for like 6 years on the farm already, like,
Right.
and then I remember I like drove myself home from work that day. I don't remember how all this all worked with vehicle situation, but I remember driving myself home from work with my driver's license, so happy, and like listening to like Reba McEntire's holiday hits. Like,
Nice.
just high on life, oh man, those were the days. But like growing up at the farm though, that driver's license was your freedom, right? Like,
Yep.
I wanted that sucker so bad. And I don't even know like what the rules are now for having a driver's license. If you like, when you're 16, you can still get your driver's license and drive by yourself, right? It's just like how many people you can have in your car is different, right? Because I feel like back in the day, like I could have went and got all my friends and we could have gone cruising right away, I think.
I don't know.
But
I
anyway,
feel like,
so
yeah, I don't remember.
I was 19 when I got
Your actual driver's
my
permit?
my driver's. I got my bike license first, and then I got my driver's license for the car. But growing up in Holland, you can only get your license when you're 18. You can start drinking when you're 16. But because in Holland everything is so close, you don't need a car.
Yeah.
You just bike everywhere.
Right. Like pedal bike.
Yeah. And then for me, it was like, okay, well, I don't, I can bike to work and I bike anywhere, and I can catch a ride with someone if I really need to, but I don't need to. And then we got into motorcycles and whatever, and okay, I'll get my bike license first. And then I got a bike, and then it was winter. It's like, probably needed a car too. So that's how that went. And then I got a job in a bigger city, so I needed to travel. Did that by train at first, train and bus, and that was so. The train system in Holland is pretty good, But if you add a bus to that equation, not so
Not so
great.
much?
No. So the trip from my house, I took my pedal bike to the train station, was about 10 minutes. Then the train took 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes to get to the city. And then from there, I had to take a bus, which also took about 20 minutes to get to my work. And then I had to walk a little bit. But when I had my bike, it was door to door about 35 minutes.
Right.
So then it made a lot more sense to just get a bike. And then winter came and I was like, I probably need my car license too. So
Interesting.
yeah.
I've never been on a train. Have you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
With like way more luggage than I should. I've been that person. You know that person? I've been that
Yeah, yeah.
person. That like
Oh yeah. I've seen that person.
yeah. I've been that person way too many times. I remember taking the train through rural Czech Republic by myself.
Oh
And
yeah.
like it was fine when I was in Prague to get away with only speaking English, but then I had to get to a little town for a gig. And so I had to take different trains and like I couldn't read anything and I couldn't communicate with anyone. And there was this part of me that's just like, well, I just hope, let's just hope I'm getting to where I'm going. And it all worked out. But that was a point where I was like, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I did it.
Makes
That's
makes for
awesome.
good stories. Right?
You
Good
know,
memories.
yeah, and I've thought about those memories a lot. Like I've done way more self-reflecting and during the pandemic than I would have otherwise, of course. Like and started to kind of write down more of these stories too, which is nice to do while I can still, remember them. But yeah, I remember sitting across from this person. She was probably like in her 60s, and I remember just thinking she had such a cool vibe to her. She was just sitting there like chilling, and she tried to speak with me, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. And then she offered me like some of her like cheese bun. Like she was just like so like, gosh, I just was like, man, if I get to live to be in my 60s, I hope I can be like as cool as this woman. Like she was just like so chill. And then at the end, like just yeah, she's such a cool energy, and like we didn't communicate at all verbally, but like just at the very end, like when she had to get off to her spot, she was just like, "Oh, Vida Zane," and I was like, ciao, just like I miss just like bonding with strangers, and then like in that case, like just communicating through like awkward laughter and like hand motions, like
Mhm.
I
Right.
miss that stuff, that
We did
one
that
day.
we did that. So like I said, trains are pretty common in Holland, and we had uh back then it was Queen's Day, so it's a celebration of the birthday of the Queen, and that's always a huge party. Everyone's in orange, everyone's drunk, everyone. You get the day off no matter what day it is. And so to get to the bigger city, because our city, it's a small city, and there are some parties going on, but the bigger city has bigger parties, and it's always outside on a huge terrace. They have like 5, 6, well, in some cases even up to 1,000 people just outside in
Holy shit.
one area. And so we would always take the train to the bigger city, and it was just everybody's going there for the same reason, and you're always hanging out with complete random strangers, and then on the way back you're always drunk and you hang out with some more random strangers. But if you're going by car, you're only hanging out with the four or five people that you have in your car. But in a train, you don't have to worry about that. And then, you know, on your way to work too, it's like you always meet the same people because those same
they're
people
all
are
going to
always going
work.
to the same job.
So do you have a good like train story?
Uh, no,
No. All
no.
right.
Well, it's, I mean, uh,
What's the weirdest thing you've ever seen on a train that you can remember? How about you, Megan? Well, I guess you just talked about how cool that lady was.
Yeah, I've been on a lot of trains. But I don't remember seeing anything I don't remember seeing anything like too wacky. I have
Right.
been that person that like didn't take my like I remember it was like it was the last day of this tour. We partied pretty late the night before and like slept like maybe 2 hours. And I remember I had my backpack on and I was like so sad I had to go back home. Like I had such a great time on this tour. And we had to take a train to meet up with, I can't remember. I think, yeah, we had to take a train like back to the venue or something, which makes sense if we were all drinking. Like I think everyone, yeah, was drinking that night. So we had to get back to the venue, and I was on the band. I was on the tour with other artists. Then they were like German based, so I was like, I'm not gonna see them, for like who knows when. Like,
Right.
so I was all sad. So I was just hungover and sad, and I had my backpack on, and this is a no to just like keep your backpack on when you're on a busy train, right? So like I
Mhm.
got onto the train, and then I immediately like accidentally like hit the person behind me with my backpack, who is also like an older woman who like different energy, like really was letting me have it in German, but like I was so apologetic, like, yeah, which probably didn't help me with my like thick Canadian accent, like, oh, bloody tourist, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
sorry,
Was
sorry,
that
sorry.
in Germany?
Oh yeah, yeah, oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
so I was
yeah,
I was being like the
yeah,
rude
The rude tourist.
yeah,
yeah.
but
The older German generation can be very like me, but
Right.
older.
The holder.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. So
Yeah.
what kind of things, Megan, what do you got coming up here now that you just had that album released not that long ago?
yeah.
And do you have any any gigs lined up in the near future here?
Yeah. So the next big show for me is hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully going to be our actual vinyl release. So we've had the music and the art with the vinyl plant for like since the summer, but everything is so backed up now with vinyl. Like
Right.
it's so backed up. So I'm hoping we have it by March. Like, so I booked this like months ago, but we're going to do a big show at the May Wilson Theater. And for that show, um, I probably will only do the show ever once because we're bringing in extra musicians so we can have the song sound as close as possible to the actual like recordings. Because right now it's like just the 4-piece, right? But that's like just more of a realistic amount of people to like, I don't know, pay and tour
Yeah.
with. But for that May Wilson show in Moose Jaw, we're bringing in a horn section and like an additional guitarist, and my sister who sings on the record, she'll come sing backup. So and like the May Wilson Theater is such a gem, like Moose Jaw's so lucky to have it, like, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That's March 19th. And then before that, we have a couple one-off gigs here or there, but like I always have something like kind of cooking up. Like I'll be doing a holiday special soon too that will be online, and like do some so I'll have some more new live videos, and yeah, just kind of planting seeds for next year. Like I used to have things pretty planned out for 2 years in advance. That was kind of like how far I was thinking. And then like I'd have like 5-year goals and 10-year
Right.
goals and things like that too. But like obviously that's just been kind of like all back burner kind of. I've had to be a little bit more go with the flow and just kind of see what comes my way. But and then eventually like I'll start writing another record, you know, start writing more. And I have been writing a lot this year. Not songs, but just writing. So I have a lot. I will have a lot to pull from when the time feels right. But as it goes right now, I'm still in like record promo mode, and
Yeah.
that's okay. There's like it all has an ebb and flow. So yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Oh hell yeah. Um Chalk me up for one of those vinyls for sure.
Ah, well,
For sure.
if you've never been to the tunnels, March 19th could be a Moose Jaw road trip.
Dude,
Ah.
I'm so there. I am
you
so there.
know?
I'll book a hotel. We'll
Oh
come up
gosh,
for the weekend.
the Grant Hall is like a really cool hotel downtown. It's all, yeah, it's got this like, I don't know, just like cool vintage vibe to it. But like clean,
Yeah.
and like nicely renovated. And yeah, and then there's like the Hive coffee shop downtown. They have really nice coffee. Crescent Park is beautiful. I guess in March I don't know how beautiful it'll be, but also like if you're into hikes or like walks in the winter time, like Waccamaw Valley is so beautiful too. Oh gosh, Moose Jaw is like, yeah, it's such a cool city. There's Thrifty, Rainbow Retro is a really cool vintage shop that's ran by Moose Jaw Pride in downtown Moose Jaw. That's a great place to check out. Yeah, you'll have to
So
send me a message beforehand, and I'll give you
I
like an
I'm
itinerary.
for sure. Why don't you come through the tunnels with us? Let's do the tunnel tour. Let's
Oh
bring
my
your sister.
gosh,
Let's
that
just
would be
go. Let's
that would be
not book a
hilarious.
tour and bring your sister, and she can give us the tour.
Yeah.
We'll get the exclusive.
Yeah. She, in full disclosure, she hasn't worked there since like the pandemic, but I'm sure it'll be like just like riding a bike, that
Oh,
like
Right.
40
the
that
story.
45-minute script will come right
Yeah.
back to it.
The story should be the same, right? Doesn't change.
No, I'm totally gonna hit you up though. Like chalk me up. I'm coming to that concert in March, for sure.
Man, that would be so rad. And I'm not even like, it's not even some kind of like weird marketing thing. It'd be like one night only, forever, never again on this planet. But it's probably true. Like I don't
It's
know when else
plausible.
I'm gonna have like 9 people on stage with me playing these songs. Like I don't know when I'll ever do that again. Like that's a
Right.
lot of people to tour with.
You should film that in Moose Jaw.
Yeah.
You know what would be kind of maybe like fun too? No pressure, but like what if we did some kind of like collaborative like Moose Jaw experience thing, like where you filmed, like did a special episode of like your time in Moose Jaw and I was your tour guide. Not just for the tunnels, but we did like
You
I
know
showed
what?
you other little parts of Moose Jaw too.
Dude, that would
We actually talked about this. Remember with Jordan Pollard?
yeah, we
We were supposed
she
to.
was going to come out here. We were going to take her to Batoche and record
Yeah.
it and give her a little tour of Batoche. And
And then we started thinking, well, maybe
dude,
we
I'm
should-
down.
Yeah.
I'm down. But I'm thinking the weekend of the 19th, you're going to be so busy though. We'd almost have to do 2 trips out there to make it work.
I was gonna say, but then like the Sunday things might be more like things might be closed. I'll have to
Let's stay in touch.
Yeah,
I legitimately love that idea. And it doesn't have to be like an hour-long show or nothing, but if we could get like 10-20 minutes of some footage, I think that'd be so cool. Just some bonus footage.
I think it'd be fun. Yeah.
And then we can call back to this episode of all the shit that you were talking about in Moose Jaw. Not shit, but it was like, see, she
All the
legitimately.
shit you were talking about Moose Jaw. I'm just dragging old Moose Jaw.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this. It has changed. Moose Jaw's changed their slogan, and I'm not about it. So if that's controversial, you heard it here, folks.
Okay, what was the old slogan? What's the new one?
The new one is the Notorious City. The old one is the Friendly City. And I liked the Friendly City. I thought it was a good goal to work towards, like, yeah, let's
Who are
try
they?
to be friendly.
Who are they? Conor McGregor? And the Notorious only came in for that Al Capone stuff.
That's the
I would
only thing
assume.
I could point. That's what I was thinking too. Like they're notorious for the tunnels.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I wish that we could be known for being friendly. Like I made the joke before that like one day there was a city hall meeting and they were like, you know what? People are not holding the doors open for others anymore. You know what? People are not stopping at crosswalks. You know what? People are not saying hi on the walking paths. We are no longer the friendly city. You know what I mean? Like, did they have that conversation and then decide to change it?
Or are
Too
they
notorious?
notoriously friendly?
Well, I guess that would be the best of both worlds. I guess that would be my compromise with Moose Jaw.
Make your own.
Anyways.
Well, you know what? When we're there filming, let's go frickin' knock on town hall's door and we'll just
Okay, so that's also like when you need to come when we have to make sure that the mayor's office is open. We have to have a meeting with the mayor to discuss this. I'm sure it's a great use of his time, but be like, hey man, like, come on, are we not friendly anymore? Come on.
Yeah, we run a music podcast, but
Yeah.
what's with the name? What's
This,
with the slogan?
this stirred up the pot when we had Megan on our
Yeah.
podcast, and where our emails are getting flooded with this. What's the deal, Moose Jaw?
And then he goes, "Show me the emails," and you're like,
No, those are confidential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we say, you show me your email. And then we really see how things work.
Show
That's
me the
right.
minutes of that meeting where it was decided. Yeah.
I
like
bet you that's public.
It is. It should.
Gosh, I wonder. Let's see if I actually get to keep playing live shows. If I don't, I'm gonna have to do a deep dive. But I right now I don't have the time. I don't have the time. But if somebody with a better attention span wants to go through those Moose Jaw City Hall minutes,
Town hall minutes.
Oh my
Town Hall
god.
minutes, yeah.
How boring would that be?
Can you
Yeah.
imagine though if someone listening was like so enthralled by this and like was just like a super fan and like did it for us on our
Oh,
behalf?
please do. Please do.
Please do.
Yeah.
Email
Right.
email Megan Nash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Info at yeah.
Okay,
Cool.
so I want to keep you on the call here, if that's okay, if you have some more time. But we are gonna call her quits, I think, on the episode, you guys, for the listeners out there. Thank you for tuning in once again.
And Megan, thanks for hanging out.
Megan,
Hey.
we appreciate the shit out of you. You are anytime you want to come back on the show, like legitimately, if you want to come back, shoot the shit, promo some
appreciate
stuff.
that.
Oh, look at that puppy.
Oh.
I just want to show you the 8x10 of my dog that I keep behind me for occasions such as this.
Oh, cool.
Sorry,
Love
I
it.
I just wanted to
Her-
make sure the listeners saw that.
Yeah.
Is it a he or her?
Shiloh is a little male dog. He's half Cocker Spaniel, half Pug. That's like the only thing I learned how to say in German.
How do you say that in German?
Okay, my accent is probably terrible. My pronunciation is probably terrible, but let's go for it. This is the banter that I practiced for the German audience. Ich habe einen Hund, sehr süß, halb Mops, halb Cocker Spaniel.
Yeah, that
Sehr
was
süß.
that was pretty good.
Do you speak German?
I do.
I didn't
Okay.
realize that I was talking to a professional.
No, oh no, I'm not. I live 20 minutes from the German border, so
Oh, right. Yeah,
I
yeah.
know but don't ask me to have a conversation because that's been 15 years. But I mean, if you say something in German, I'll understand.
There you go.
Yeah.
You did good. I didn't understand anything you said.
Well,
but
whatever
it
she said-
sounded great.
Whatever she said in English,
Just
she said
prior,
in
yeah,
German.
I'll have to go back to the tape. No,
But
it was
Google-
a pug, part Cocker Spaniel.
Yep.
And part pug.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
what she said in German.
Yeah.
How come it's so
Mops.
short?
Mops,
So
yeah.
short in English, and then that seemed like
Well, I said I have a dog.
ah
Very sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Half Cocker Spaniel, half Pug, half Cocker Spaniel. Yeah.
so what's Zeus?
Sehr süß.
Sehr Zeus.
Zeus. What is
süß.
that?
Very
Zeus.
sweet.
Zeus? Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
I was thinking about that today, how like that's the only thing I really properly learned to say, or like tried to learn, not properly, but like the phrase that I can remember in German. There's like a few more that I would like try to pick up. But yeah.
Right on. Okay. We're
were
gonna
saying-
we're gonna end with that.
She's part of the family. That's what you were
Yeah,
saying.
you are part of the family now. You're like welcome to the Moose family.
Aw.
Anytime you want to come on the
Danke.
Danke. Yeah, you come back anytime. We'd be more than happy to just hang out with you again.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I appreciate it. I would love to come back. Well,
Cool.
we've made a lot of plans actually, so
We did.
we'll talk
So
soon.
So you're gonna have to accept my friend request there now on Instagram. Just block.
I'm not going to no tunnels.
Yeah, fuck that guy. You'll tell the mayor to arrest me. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, you guys. we're gonna let you go.
I still don't know how it works. I still don't know how it works. I still don't know how. Trying to figure it out.